You ever have one of those moments where your whole life just shatters? Like you're standing there, soup dripping down your face, literally burning your skin, and you're thinking, how the hell did I get here? Well, buckle up, because that's exactly where my story starts. And trust me, by the time I'm done, you're gonna understand why that one phone call I made didn't just change everything, it destroyed everything, in the best and worst way possible. My name's Diane, I'm 52, and up until 6 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. My son, Marcus, my baby boy, 28 years old, smart as a whip, works in tech, makes good money. He'd been dating this girl, Vanessa, for about 3 years. Sweet girl, or so I thought. Pretty, polite, always brought me flowers when they'd visit. Her mom, Patricia, seemed nice enough too at first. You know the type. Designer purse, perfect hair. Talked a lot about her book club and her Pilates instructor. We'd had a few dinners together, nothing crazy. Everything seemed normal. God, I was so stupid. So here's where it starts getting weird. About 4 months before the soup incident, Marcus starts acting different, distant. He's not calling as much, not coming by on Sundays like he used to. When I'd ask him what's wrong, he'd just say, "Nothing, Ma, just busy with work." But a mother knows, you know? I could hear it in his voice. Something was off. And every time I'd bring up the wedding, because yeah, they'd gotten engaged about a year prior, he'd change the subject real quick. "We're still planning, Ma, don't worry about it." Don't worry about it? Lady, I've been dreaming about my son's wedding since the day he was born. I had Pinterest boards, for crying out loud. Then one day, out of the blue, I get this text from Vanessa's mom, Patricia. "Diane, we need to talk about the wedding. Can you come over for lunch on Saturday?" Okay, cool, I'm thinking. Finally, we're gonna nail down some details. I show up at her house, and let me tell you, this woman lives in one of those McMansions in the suburbs, the kind with the 3-car garage and the fountain in the front yard. I ring the doorbell, she opens it, and right away I can tell something's off. Her smile is too tight, her eyes are cold. But I brush it off. I'm good at that, brushing things off. We sit down in her pristine white dining room, and she's made this butternut squash soup. Homemade, she says. She pours me a bowl, pours herself one, and we start talking. Small talk at first. Weather, her garden, how the hydrangeas are doing. Then she gets to it. "So, Diane," she says, setting down her spoon, "I wanted to talk to you about the wedding budget." I'm nodding along like, okay, sure, let's talk numbers. And then she drops this bomb. She says, "Marcus and Vanessa have decided they want a small, intimate ceremony, just immediate family, and we'll be covering most of the costs, so you don't need to worry about contributing much." Now, let me pause here and say, I'm not a wealthy woman. I'm a nurse, I work hard, I saved what I could, but I had put aside 10 grand for my son's wedding, $10,000, because I wanted to help, because that's what you do. And this woman is sitting here in her mansion telling me I don't need to contribute much, like I'm some charity case? I can feel my blood pressure rising, but I keep it together. I say, "Patricia, I appreciate that, but I want to help. This is my son's wedding." And she just smiles, this condescending little smile, and says, "I understand, but Marcus and Vanessa have already made their decisions. We just want to keep things simple." Simple. That word kept ringing in my ears. Simple. But then she says something that really sets me off. She goes, "You know, Diane, I think it's important that Marcus and Vanessa start this new chapter without too much interference. They're building their own family now." Interference? I'm his mother. I literally gave birth to this kid, raised him by himself after his dad walked out when he was 5, worked double shifts to put him through college, and now I'm interference? I can feel the anger bubbling up, but before I can say anything, she keeps going. "In fact," she says, leaning back in her chair like she's the Queen of England, "I think it might be best if you take a bit of a step back, give them some space." That's when I lose it. Not screaming, not yet, but I stand up and I say, "Excuse me? You're telling me to step back from my own son?" And she has the audacity to look at me like I'm being unreasonable. She says, "I'm just saying what Marcus has been too polite to say himself. He wants his independence, Diane, and honestly, Vanessa and I have been handling most of the planning anyway. You've been a bit overbearing." Overbearing, that word hit me like a freight train. I could feel the tears starting to sting my eyes, but I'll be damned if I was going to cry in front of this woman. So I say, voice shaking, "If that's how Marcus feels, he can tell me himself." And that's when Patricia picks up her bowl of soup, this steaming hot bowl of butternut squash, and I swear to God, time slows down. She looks me dead in the eye and says, "Maybe this will help you cool off." And she throws it right in my face. I'm talking scalding hot soup, dripping down my face, into my eyes, burning my skin. I'm screaming, stumbling back, knocking over my chair. She's just sitting there, calm as anything, dabbing her mouth with a napkin, like she didn't just assault me. I'm clutching my face, and through the pain, I hear her say, "I think it's time for you to leave, Diane." I grab my purse and I run out of there, soup still dripping off me, my face on fire. I get in my car and I just sit there for a minute, shaking, trying to process what the hell just happened. First thing I do, after I stop at a gas station and clean myself up as best I can, is I call Marcus. He doesn't answer. I call again, nothing. I leave a voicemail, my voice all choked up. "Marcus, your future mother-in-law just threw hot soup in my face. I need you to call me back right now." I wait. An hour goes by, nothing. 2 hours, nothing. I'm starting to panic now, thinking maybe Patricia got to him first, spun some story. So I call Vanessa, straight to voicemail. I'm losing my mind. That night, I barely sleep. My face is red and sore, I've got a first-degree burn on my cheek, and my son won't return my calls. The next morning, I wake up to a text from Marcus. Not a call, a text. It says, "Mom, Patricia told me what happened. You need to apologize to her. You were being really rude and she was just defending her daughter." I read that text about 50 times, trying to make sense of it. Apologize? Apologize? She threw soup in my face. But it's the next part that really guts me. He writes, "And honestly, Mom, we've been meaning to talk to you. Vanessa and I got married last week. Just a small thing at the courthouse. We didn't want a big fuss." They got married without me. My son got married and didn't even invite me. I'm staring at my phone and I can't breathe. It's like someone reached into my chest and ripped my heart out. I call him immediately, and this time he answers. "Marcus," I'm crying now, full on sobbing, "you got married without me?" And he sounds annoyed. Annoyed! He goes, "Mom, don't make this about you. We wanted something simple, and honestly, with how you've been acting, we thought it was for the best." How I've been acting? I'm about to lose it, but then I hear Vanessa's voice in the background saying something I can't make out, and Marcus goes, "Look, I gotta go. We'll talk later." And he hangs up. I sat on my couch for I don't even know how long, just crying. Crying for the relationship I thought I had with my son, crying for the wedding I'd never get to see, crying because I felt so completely betrayed and alone. But then, somewhere in all that grief, something else started to creep in. Anger. Not just anger, rage, because this wasn't right. None of this was right. Patricia throwing soup in my face, Marcus cutting me out, them getting married in secret. Something was seriously wrong here, and I was going to find out what. So I did what any self-respecting woman would do. I started digging. First, I called my sister, Linda, who's always been good at this stuff. Internet stalking, finding out dirt, whatever. I tell her everything, and she's horrified. "Diane, that's insane. Let me do some research." 2 days later, she calls me back. "Okay," she says, "so I looked into Patricia, found her Facebook, her LinkedIn, did some cross-referencing. Diane, this woman has been married 4 times. 4 times! And every single one ended in a messy divorce where she got a huge settlement." My stomach drops. "What are you saying, Linda?" And she goes, "I'm saying this woman is a pro at manipulating people and situations to get what she wants, and I think she's doing the same thing to Marcus and Vanessa." I start digging deeper myself. I look at Patricia's social media, and it's all carefully curated. Posts about family values, about how close she is with Vanessa, photos of her and Vanessa together at brunches, at the spa, on vacation. And I notice something. There are barely any photos of Vanessa and Marcus together. It's all Vanessa and Patricia. And then I find this one post from about 6 months ago, around the time Marcus started acting weird. It's a picture of Patricia and Vanessa, and the caption reads, "My darling daughter and I are embarking on an exciting new chapter. Some people just don't understand the bond between a mother and daughter. Blood is thicker than water." That phrase, "blood is thicker than water," it keeps gnawing at me. I reach out to a few of Marcus's friends, people I've known since he was a kid. I ask them if they've noticed anything weird. One of them, his buddy Jake, tells me, "Yeah, actually, Mrs. D, Marcus has been super weird lately. He canceled on poker night like 3 times in a row, and when we do see him, Vanessa is always there, like always, and she's always got her mom on FaceTime or something. It's kind of creepy, honestly." Creepy, that's the word that sticks with me. Creepy. So now I'm putting the pieces together. Patricia is controlling, she's manipulative, she's isolated my son from me, convinced him I'm the problem, and now she's got her claws in her and Vanessa. But why? What's the end game here? I'm racking my brain, and then Linda calls me again. "Diane, you're not going to believe this. I found Patricia's second husband's obituary. He died 3 years ago, and guess what? He left behind a trust fund, a big one, and according to the terms I found in some public records, the money goes to Vanessa when she turns 30, or when she gets married." Bingo. It all clicks. Patricia doesn't just want control, she wants money. Vanessa's 30 next year, but if she got married now, the trust fund gets released early, and I'm betting Patricia's got her hands in that cookie jar somehow. Maybe she convinced Vanessa to give her access, maybe she's got some legal loophole, I don't know. But what I do know is that Patricia orchestrated this whole thing, the secret wedding, pushing me out, everything, to get to that money, and my son is just collateral damage. Now I'm not just angry, I'm on a mission. I need proof. I hire a private investigator. Yeah, I went there. Cost me a chunk of my savings, but I didn't care. 2 weeks later, the PI comes back with a file. Turns out Patricia's been siphoning money from Vanessa's accounts for months. Small amounts at first, then bigger chunks. Vanessa probably doesn't even notice because Patricia's been handling all her finances, telling her it's for wedding expenses and investments. And there's more. The PI found that Patricia took out a second mortgage on her fancy house, and she's drowning in debt. The trust fund isn't just a nice to have for her, it's a necessity. She's desperate. So, armed with this information, I know I have to be smart. I can't just go to Marcus with accusations. He won't believe me, not with Patricia whispering in his ear. I need to get to Vanessa. So I do something risky. I show up at her work. She's a graphic designer at a small firm downtown. I wait outside until her lunch break, and when she comes out, I intercept her. "Vanessa, please, I just need 5 minutes." She looks uncomfortable, like she's been told to avoid me, but she nods. We sit on a bench nearby, and I hand her a folder. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here because I care about you and Marcus, and I think someone is using you both." She opens the folder, and I watch her face as she flips through the bank statements, the mortgage documents, the PI's report. Her expression goes from confusion to shock to horror. "This can't be real," she whispers. "My mom would never." But I can see it in her eyes. She knows. Deep down, she knows. "Vanessa," I say gently, "I think your mom convinced you to marry Marcus quickly so she could access your trust fund. And I think she's been pushing me out because I'm the only one who would question it." Tears start rolling down her cheeks. "I thought she was just trying to protect me," she says, voice breaking. "She kept saying you were too controlling, that you'd ruin our relationship, and I believed her. God, I'm so stupid." I take her hand. You're not stupid. She's your mom. You trusted her. But now you know the truth, and you have to decide what you're going to do about it. We sit there for a while, both of us crying, and then Vanessa says, I need to talk to Marcus. I nod. I think that's a good idea, but Vanessa, you need to do it somewhere Patricia can't interfere. She agrees, and we make a plan. That evening, Vanessa texts Marcus and tells him to meet her at our old favorite diner, the place where they had their first date. She specifically tells him to come alone, that it's important. I'm parked across the street, watching. Marcus shows up, looking confused, but also kind of annoyed. They sit in a booth by the window, and I can see Vanessa showing him the folder. At first, Marcus is shaking his head, clearly defensive. But as she keeps talking, keeps showing him the documents, I see his expression change. The defensiveness melts into confusion, then disbelief, then anger. He pulls out his phone, probably texting or calling Patricia. Vanessa grabs his hand, stopping him. They talk for what feels like hours. Finally, they come out of the diner and Vanessa waves me over. I get out of my car, heart pounding, and Marcus just stands there, staring at me. And then he does something I didn't expect. He walks over and hugs me, just wraps his arms around me and holds on tight, and I can feel him shaking. I'm so sorry, Mom, he says, voice muffled against my shoulder. I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. I should have known better. I'm crying again. Seems like that's all I do these days. And I just hold my boy the way I did when he was little and scared of thunderstorms. We decide, the three of us, that we need to confront Patricia together, but we need leverage. So Marcus and Vanessa go to a lawyer the next day and get a restraining order against Patricia based on the financial abuse and the fraud. They also freeze Vanessa's accounts and start the process of removing Patricia's access to everything. It's a messy, complicated legal process, but they're determined. Then comes the confrontation. We all go to Patricia's house. Me, Marcus, Vanessa, and the lawyer. Patricia opens the door with that same fake smile, but it falters when she sees all of us standing there. "What's this about?" she asks, trying to sound casual. Marcus steps forward. "Mom," he says, and it guts me hearing him call her that. "We know what you've been doing. We know about the money, the debt, all of it." Patricia's face goes pale, then red. "I don't know what you're talking about. Vanessa, honey, what lies has this woman been feeding you?" But Vanessa steps forward too. "She didn't feed me anything, Mom. I saw the bank statements. I know what you did." Patricia's whole demeanor changes. The mask drops, and what's underneath is ugly. "You ungrateful little bitch," she hisses at Vanessa. "I gave you everything. I raised you by yourself after your deadbeat father left, and this is how you repay me?" Marcus steps between them. "No, this stops now. You manipulated us, you lied to us, and you assaulted my mother. It's over." The lawyer steps forward and hands Patricia an envelope. "These are legal documents informing you that Ms. Vanessa Chen is pressing charges for financial fraud and theft. You'll be hearing from the police soon. And Mrs. Walker here is also considering pressing assault charges for the soup incident." Patricia looks at me, and for a second I see genuine fear in her eyes. "Diane, please," she says, voice suddenly small. "I made a mistake. I was just trying to secure my daughter's future." But I'm done. I'm so done. You threw hot soup in my face, Patricia. You turned my son against me. You stole from your own daughter. You don't get to play the victim here. I turn to leave, and Marcus and Vanessa follow. Behind us, I can hear Patricia screaming, but I don't look back. The next few weeks are a blur of legal proceedings, police statements, and family therapy sessions. Yeah, therapy, because this whole thing left scars, emotional ones that are going to take time to heal. Marcus is struggling with guilt, feeling like he should have seen through Patricia's manipulations sooner. Vanessa's a mess, grieving the mother she thought she had, while also trying to process the betrayal. And me, I'm trying to forgive my son for shutting me out, while also dealing with the trauma of that soup incident and everything that followed. But slowly, things start to get better. Marcus and Vanessa move into a new apartment that Patricia doesn't know the address to. They have a small vow renewal ceremony, nothing fancy, just us, Linda, Jake, and a few close friends, and this time, I'm there. I walk Marcus down the aisle, and when he says his vows to Vanessa, there's not a dry eye in the room. Afterward, we have dinner at that same diner where they had their first date, and we laugh and cry and tell stories, and for the first time in months, it feels like we're a family again. Patricia ends up pleading guilty to a reduced charge of financial misconduct. She doesn't go to prison, but she's on probation, has to pay restitution to Vanessa, and is legally barred from contacting any of us. Vanessa tells me she doesn't know if she'll ever fully forgive her mom, but she's working on it in therapy. I need to mourn who I thought she was, she says one day over coffee, and then, maybe someday, I can figure out if there's any relationship to salvage. I tell her I understand, because I do. Family is complicated, and betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. As for me and Marcus, we're rebuilding. It's not perfect. There are still moments of tension, times when I have to bite my tongue or he has to remind himself to include me in decisions, but we're trying. He calls me every Sunday now, comes over for dinner with Vanessa at least once a week, and sometimes when we're sitting around the table laughing at some dumb joke or arguing about politics, I look at him and I see my little boy again, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who'd ask me to check for monsters under his bed. And I realize that even though Patricia tried to destroy us, she didn't. We're still here. We're still a family. But here's the kicker. The real twist that I didn't see coming. About 3 months after everything went down, I get a call from... But here's the kicker. The real twist that I didn't see coming. About 3 months after everything went down, I get a call from an unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Hello? And the voice on the other end says, "Mrs. Walker, this is Detective Rodriguez. I'm calling about Patricia Chen." My heart drops. What about her? And he says, "We've been investigating her further, following up on your case, and we've uncovered something significant. Can you come down to the station?" I drive down there, and Detective Rodriguez sits me down in an interview room. He slides a file across the table. "Mrs. Walker, Patricia Chen isn't just a con artist. She's wanted in 2 other states for similar schemes. She's been doing this for over a decade, targeting wealthy single mothers, befriending them, manipulating their kids, and then draining their assets." I'm stunned. "So Vanessa's trust fund wasn't her first target?" He shakes his head. "Not even close. We've identified at least 6 other victims. And here's the thing, Patricia Chen isn't even her real name. Her real name is Patricia Moreno, and she's got a record going back 20 years. I sit there trying to process this. "Does Vanessa know?" I ask. He nods. "We informed her this morning. She's understandably shaken." I drive straight to Marcus and Vanessa's apartment. When I get there, Vanessa is on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, eyes red from crying. Marcus is sitting next to her, arm around her shoulders. I sit down on the other side of her and take her hand. "I'm so sorry," I say. "I know this doesn't make anything easier." She looks at me with these hollow eyes and says, "My whole childhood was a lie. Every memory I have with her is tainted now. How do I even begin to deal with that?" And honestly, I don't have an answer. None of us do. This is the kind of betrayal that doesn't have a clean resolution, a neat bow tied around it. It's messy and painful, and it's gonna take years to fully unpack. But what I do know is this: we have each other, and that's not nothing. That's everything, actually. So yeah, that's my story. The MIL who threw hot soup in my face turned out to be a career criminal who'd been manipulating my son and his wife for money. One call to a PI changed everything, exposed the truth, saved my relationship with my son, and probably prevented Patricia from scamming anyone else. But it also left scars, deep ones, that we're all still learning to live with. Life doesn't always give you happy endings. Sometimes it gives you survival, and you have to build your own version of happy from there.
And you know what? That soup burn on my cheek healed, but I still have a faint scar. Sometimes I catch myself touching it, remembering that day, and instead of feeling angry or hurt, I feel grateful. Grateful that I fought back. Grateful that I didn't just accept Patricia's narrative and walk away from my son. Grateful that even though we went through hell, we came out the other side together. That scar reminds me that I'm stronger than I thought I was. And that soup, best thing Patricia ever gave me, because it woke me the hell up and it saved my family. So if you ever find yourself with hot soup dripping down your face, metaphorically or literally, don't just stand there. Fight back. Make that call. Change everything. You'll be glad you did.